Today is the day after Christmas Day, and it's another hymn by Charles Wesley from the book I mentioned the other day of some of the lesser known hymns by him and by his brother John. One of the things about Charles Wesley is that he's really willing to have a go at expressing thoughts in words that really, first of all, take thought on our part. And that's, again, one of the things about the great hymns, as well as the Psalms, is you've really got to think about what you're singing and engage mentally and with our intellects in it. The words just don't flit through your mind to a nice modern tune with a nice beat. And in this particular hymn, it's a really good example of how he takes thoughts about the incarnation and sort of presents them to us. And you think, gosh, I really need to think about that. So, for instance, he's speaking about the Lamb who came from the throne to become flesh of our flesh and bone of our bone. And that's what Adam said of Eve, that she was flesh of his flesh and bone of his bone. But here it's the heavenly bridegroom coming down, the Son of God, to become human flesh, to take on human nature, that he might be flesh of our flesh and bone of our bone, and we might be united to him as his bride. The omnipotent Lord, by all heaven adored, the invisible Godhead, appeared in the Word. He came from on high, who created the sky. He comes, as it were, from the sky, who created the sky, and humbles himself in a manger to lie. He caused all things to be. What a wonder we see. Christ is born of a creature. He is born of Mary. He is born of someone he created and nursed on her knee. And so it goes on in the following verses. He goes on to speak about the shepherds who are told of the Messiah first, and then the wise men, the rich, and the intellectuals follow on to worship. But it's the poor that are called to worship him first. And then the last verse is, having dealt with Mary's worshipping of her son, the shepherds and the wise men, it comes to us that by the Spirit we don't worship at the manger, we behold him in heaven itself. We, by the Spirit, beholding the glory of the Lord with joy inexpressible and full of glory, Peter says, we praise the Lord Jesus today. And to our incarnate King, because he still is man and reigns as man, we ecstatically sing. It's just astonishing to think that the human nature he took on in Mary's womb and was born with in Bethlehem, he still bears in heaven eternally, that we might be eternally one with him, the head of the body. To our incarnate King, we ecstatically sing. So both heaven and earth with his triumph now ring. The Lamb from the throne of his Father came down. He was flesh of our flesh, he was bone of our bone. The omnipotent Lord, by all heaven adored. The invisible Godhead appeared in the Word. He came from on high, who created the sky, and humbled himself in a manger to lie. He caused all things to be. What a wonder we see. Christ is born of a creature and nursed on her knee. With innocent smile, as an infant, a child, he was worshipped by Mary, as on him she smiled. The angels she knew had worshipped him too in heaven, but now she could give him his due. birth at their folds, the promised Messiah by prophets foretold. The wise men adore with the riches they bore, and the wealthy permitted to follow the poor. We on his face by the Spirit may gaze, and with joy inexpressible Jesus we praise. To our incarnate King we ecstatically sing. So both heaven and earth with his triumph